Hey, I'm Wiley. Welcome to the Wiley Report. I recently saw a video circulating across several platforms where masculine-centered women were discussing trans people, cross-dressing science and placement within the placement of the T within LGBTQ+. And I had thoughts. So if you see me looking up, it's because I took notes. I'll be honest, when I first saw this video, I didn't want to hit play, but after seeing it several times, I decided to just listen to it, to hear people out, to hear what they were going to say. And as I watched it, rather than respond point by point, I became more interested in the question underneath the conversation. So when you see me looking up, it's because I took notes. Cross-dressing absolutely has a place within trans history, queer history, drag history, gender exploration, and some trans people's individual stories. But cross-dressing and transgender identity are not synonymous. Clothing, gender expression, gender identity, sexuality, and trans identity, they're different concepts. Collapsing them together makes the conversation less precise, not more. Then there's the appeal to science. We often hear, I'm just going by science, as though invoking science settles the argument, but saying something is scientific does not automatically make it so. Also, science is a method of inquiry involving evidence, questions, methods, interpretation, revision, and disagreement. It's not a word that turns an assumption into an objective truth. And beneath these conversations, when I listen to the entire video, I think there's a deeper tension around legitimacy, and more so, what does it mean when we say gender is socially constructed? Socially constructed does not mean fake or imaginary. It means that categories gain meaning through culture, institutions, relationships, norms, and shared understanding. So the more interesting question becomes, who creates the boundaries, who gets included, and who gets excluded, and whose understanding of gender is treated as natural. That leads me to the question underneath the question: who gets to have their gender treated as natural and self-evident, and whose gender has to be explained, proved, or legitimized? I'll say that question again because I've been sitting with that. Who gets to have their gender treated as natural, self-evident, and whose gender has to be explained, proven, or legitimized? Trans identity often historically has become something to investigate, debate, or prove, much to my own dismay. And when we bring Blackness into the conversation, that tension becomes even more important. Black bodies have a long history of being classified, measured, surveilled, gendered, interpreted by institutions, by other people claiming authority over what Blackness and what Black people are. And Black LGBTQ+ people are part of history, not outside of it. So who gets to define a Black trans people's gender? The individual, the family, the church, medicine, the government, a content creator, an algorithm, somebody with a lapel microphone. And yes, I'm being a little funny, but I'm also serious because digital platforms have changed how information authority works. Anyone can turn on a camera, speak confidently, and reach thousands of people. But confidence is not expertise. Virality is not peer review. And I looked it up. Tells us nothing about where someone looked, what sources they used, and how they evaluated what they found. And I promise I'm not, I don't have any ill will toward the people that created the initial video. I do wholeheartedly believe in individuals' right and ability to express their opinions, their ideas, their values and beliefs, even when it conflicts with my own. As an information scientist, I study race, digital culture, intersectionality, and Black trans men's digital information practices. I'm interested not only in what information exists online, but what gets believed. Who becomes an expert? And what happens when marginalized people encounter information about themselves produced without them? What happens when we look at that information that's produced by people within your own community that mock you or disregard your very identity, your very being, while calling it being respectful, scientific? So maybe the real question is not whether gender is performed. Maybe the more revealing question is whose performance becomes invisible because society has already decided to call it natural. I'm Wiley, And this has been the Wiley Report. Y'all have a good day.